anything, just introduce her. I'm going to do that. We're very pleased to have the Academy Award-winning actress and activist with us, Susan Sarandon.
I finally won an Academy Award. Can you imagine if they had to keep saying like 5-time loser? When you finally win, it makes it so much easier. I'm really happy to be here. The last time I was in Iowa, I had the pleasure of being here when Obama came around for the second time to thank the people of Iowa for not listening to everyone that said he was unelectable and for giving him his push, which we know turned out pretty well. And at that time, he was just this guy with a funny last name. And I really was so moved by the people of Iowa because you guys listened to what he had to say. You didn't just take the rhetoric. You didn't listen to what the machine was telling you. And now again, we're in that same position, strangely. Except this time I came without a job. I'm so involved because I really believe that this is probably the last time in my lifetime with Citizen United the way it is that we will ever get a candidate that can come up unscathed, unsold, without taking any super PAC, without having, Goldman Sachs giving you $1 million, without ties to any of these corporations and places and people that are have hijacked our democracy and our lives. And so, against all odds, it's really, really important and incredibly moving and inspirational to see what's happened with, no money but small contributions and an enormous amount of volunteers. I've been going across, shopping with the volunteers and filling out all the labels and everything in the different places all across Iowa. By shopping, I mean like calling people up and telling them, shocking them, and telling them to come out. The eyes, what happens here is going to make a huge difference because, as you probably noticed, the press has been really slow to get out Bernie's message, to even get his name recognition. It's just lately that really he's gotten his due. And as my youngest son says, in Brooklyn, Mom, you don't have to convince people, you just have to give them the information and that will convince them. And I think that's really true. But we have to take these states one by one, each step of the way, to make that happen. And so this is I'm begging you on behalf of every other state to please get people out, because I think if there is a big turnout, it's clear that he will take this state, and then people are going to have to take him seriously. To answer the question of how can I betray my vagina by voting for I find it really, and thank you guys for being here too, but I find it so patronizing to think that women are just going to support anybody because they're a woman. Yeah. Smarter than that, and I think it's really sexist to put pressure on us that way. I'm from New York, and I supported Hillary Clinton, and then when the lead up to the war came, and the country was having, was in such a psychic shock, and all kinds of things were going on, and I was so betrayed when she voted. There were other women that did not. Barbara Lee did not. Senator Byrd of West Virginia, Obama. There were people at that time who had the courage to say, at least let's slow down. And as a woman, with a child, you would think that there would be more at risk in your psyche, and maybe that's my prejudice, but to have a woman go that quickly into leading us into war was really, really upsetting for me. I don't consider that a mistake. I consider that a catastrophe on her part and a failure of foreign policy. So when she talks about how Bernie has no experience in foreign policy, I say, well, that was the biggest challenge that is going to come along in my lifetime, and she failed, as far as I'm concerned. We need leaders that do the right thing even when it's not popular. We need leaders that have a moral bottom line. That, you know, yeah, she's, and I don't want to do a negative campaign. I've been told not to do that, but I want somebody that doesn't get on board after everybody else is. You know, gay rights, for instance. I mean, you know, some things are right and some things are wrong. And sometimes it's unpopular to stand up and make a stand when you know something's wrong, and or for something that's right. And I don't appreciate that she plays it safe. I mean, she's a politician. I understand that. I'm not saying she's dishonest or a horrible person. She's smart. She's politically astute. But don't we want more than that? Don't we want someone we can really trust? It's a volatile time, you know, and I'm really tired of just every single solution to every problem is violent. With our kids, you know, it's not like we have a draft where everybody's invested in what happens here. So that's the other thing that really worries me. I want somebody who thinks that way and who, you know, understands that there are more complicated answers. I don't like the ties that she has, and you know, the fact that her history in terms of unions and in terms of gay rights and many other things has just been, for me, too slow. So, you know, you have somebody like Bernie, and again, it's a miracle that he's even in this position, considering how consistently I'm so invested and moved in this state, and all I see, the millennials, you know, are on fire with this. He has made it clear when people say, you know, I've been doing some interviews, and it's really strange, the questions like, you know, well, what do you say to people that say that, you know, a free education and health care are handouts? You know, when other countries have this already, you know, why are we so slow? I mean, the fact that people are working so hard and paying taxes and getting so little in return is just not right. We're, you know, and that corporations and all of these bailouts, and I don't have to go through it, everybody knows it. And where, you know, Trump has gotten a hold of that and has mined as much hatred and racism and separatism as he possibly can. You have Bernie, on the other hand, that's saying, we need to be the machine now. We need to take over. We can do it. We need to all come together and demand that the people that we pay, and we can make a new Congress, we can make a new House when the time comes. You know, that's the other thing. We don't have to just be so cynical that, you know, say, yeah, well, okay, we'll raise the minimum wage to $12 because it's just going to be too much. We can't possibly get 15. You know, could we try to get 15? I mean, that's I mean, you know, change is hard. Change, if somebody had said to Martin Luther King, you know, this is going to be tough, maybe you should just back down. I mean, if you're going to make a difference, it's going to be tough, and it needs for all of us to stay engaged once this man becomes president of the United States. Yes. I guess that's all that I have to say. I don't know if you have any questions. I'm very good at speaking as a speaker. I'm better when I have someone else I'm pretending to be.
Why is it such a question as it is to say thank you?
Why what?
Oh, hold on, I actually have a microphone I can pass around. So we're going to have a few question and answer.